Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily here on MLSsoccer.com. Josh Weiselman joined here by Simon Borg on this Thursday morning. And we're going to start off with the big news of the day. Jurgen Klinsmann has named his 23-man roster for this summer's Gold Cup. We heard reports leading up in the week that both Landon Donovan and Jack McInerney were going to be included, and now we know that that is a certainty. Both of them are on that 23-man roster. And Simon, what other big names stood out to you?
I'm very curious to see the European-based contingent, Josh, starting with Oguchi Onyewu. The center back, we haven't seen him in camp for a while. Mix Diskerud, we all hear the talk about what he can do for the midfield. And Josh Gott as well, a lot of promise there. Then Jose Torres, he was going to be a big part of the Klinsmann revolution, the possession-based attacking revolution. He dropped off. This is a big chance for him. And then at right back, does Tony Beltran of Real Salt Lake or even Michael Parkhurst have a chance to get into that right back rotation that right now has Brad Evans, a midfielder, as the #1 choice?
Going to be fun to watch. And of course, there are some absences. Klinsmann naming this squad of 23 from his original 35-man provisional roster. And there are some big names missing too. Simon Breck Shea, Carlos Bocanegra. What do we make of those?
Well, in case of Shea, Josh, I think this is Klinsmann wanting Shea to really have a good preseason with Stoke and get into that squad. He was on the outskirts of the squad last season. But for Bocanegra, you wonder if maybe he wants to give him time to as he searches for a new club now that he's out of Racing Santander. Or it could be that we've seen the last of the former U.S. captain in this World Cup cycle, at least. But I'm also curious that he didn't call up Omar Gonzalez and Matt Beasler. I think that pairing, which is the starting pairing right now for the U.S. national team, I thought they could have used a lot more reps in an international setting like the Gold Cup offers. So surprised not to see them.
Okay, well, Klinsmann meets the media this afternoon. We will have the roster, of course, on MLSsoccer.com. You can check that out, and a whole lot of reaction as well. Moving on now, Simon, we had Open Cup action last night. We are finally down to 4 semifinals, 4 matches last night. Let's start at FC Dallas Stadium. Portland Timbers, FC Dallas. It seems like they're meeting every week these days. Portland go through. FC Dallas took the lead in this one, but then Darlington Nagbe took over.
And he only scores golazos, Josh. Another one for him. And then 2 minutes later, gives the pass to Diego Valeri, who then puts Portland up. And then at that point, Dallas was frazzled. Their back line really giving up a lot of through balls. They were sliced up in this one. And then the back pass by Walker Zimmerman. You thought sealed it, but then Dallas made one last push, a little gaff there by Donovan Ricketts, and they hit the post at the very end. They could have equalized. When these two teams meet up, it's a great game.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, the other match that everyone had their eyes on last night, Simon, the Cinderella run is over for Orlando City. They go to Toyota Park. They face a Chicago Fire side that were motivated, that were focused, that were sharp. And in the end, the final result, 5-1 to Chicago.
And 5-1 doesn't reflect how this game went. I thought 11 on 11, Orlando were the better side. Sean Johnson, goalkeeper for Chicago, had to come up with some big saves. And Orlando actually equalized on the road, always hard to do. But then a goal by Chris Rolfe, a really nice one, put them up 2-1, a red card to an Orlando City player, and that's pretty much all she wrote. They couldn't come back after that.
Yep, of course. And the big news in this one, of course, in the fallout, Orlando City will be losing their top scorer, Dom Dwyer. He is headed back to his parent club, Sporting Kansas City, we've learned this morning. So that will be one to watch as well. But the Open Cup semifinals are set. DC United advanced past New England and RSL past Carolina. So it's going to be Portland and RSL in the semifinals, joined by DC and Chicago. Those are both going to be on August 7th. Check out all the Open Cup coverage on MLSsoccer.com. And finally, it is make or break time for the U.S. Under-20 men's national team at the Under-20 World Cup in Turkey. Simon, 12:45 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU and ESPN3.com. They take on Ghana. They need to win.
They have to win if they're going to have any chance of qualifying from this group. It, by the way, was the group of death. So they're in a good position here in the final game. I think they're going to have a better chance than the other games to actually get a victory here because Benji Hoya is suspended from this game. He's a central midfielder that Tab Ramos has put a lot of stock into, but I don't think he's shown up for the U.S. in this tournament thus far. Mikey Lopez of Sporting Kansas City likely to slot in for him. I think he forms a great partnership with Columbus Crew midfielder Will Trapp. And then you have Danny Garcia from FC Dallas. He's well enough to come back. He likely is in the starting lineup. He gives them a lot of skill and mobility. That lineup, I think, has a shot against Ghana.
Well, it's going to be huge either way for the U.S. under-20s, and of course they need to win, and if they could make up some of that negative goal difference as well, that would really help. It's a really murky scenario as far as which teams are going to be placed to go through in that one. 12:45 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's on ESPNU and ESPN3, and lots of pregame coverage of that one on MLSsoccer.com right now. We'll have reaction afterwards, of course. That does it for us here on The Daily. Make sure you check out Extra Time Radio today. Kyle Beckerman is going to be on. That'll be a good one. And of course, 3 p.m. Eastern, we are going to have a live Google Plus hangout with LA Galaxy homegrown forward Giassi Zardes. So make sure you get your questions in for him as well. Use the hashtag on Twitter, AskGiassi. That does it for us here on The Daily. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.